So for events like our Capes for Kids event, every year and we start the planning, which we're in the midst of it now, even though it is a March event. We make sure that we clearly define what our goals and metrics for the year are at all levels of the event, because that's how we know if we're going to have a successful event. And it also allows us to plan to provide the best experience possible for our fundraisers and our donors. So in terms of Capes for Kids, our main objective is to raise revenue in support of Holland Bloorview. But kind of feeding into that, our two kind of lower level goals are just the number of participants and the number of our donors. And we break the number of donors out into new and returning donors as well, because in addition to our goal of recruiting fundraisers, Capes for Kids is one of our largest driver of acquisition of new donors. So it's a crucial part of Holland Bloorview's success and health of our donor base. So going into the year, we would establish our SMART goals. One example would be our goal is to recruit 1,000 participants who raise an average of $800 from an average of 6 donors by the end of March is kind of what our high level goal we would be going into the planning for this event is. And then we really break that down with our business intelligence team and a few other folks into really specific KPIs, again, for kind of every aspect of this large event. So that could be KPIs around the retention of participants as well as acquisition. And then we're going to create strategies to retain those donors. So that could be our mass recruitment drive as well as personal recruitment, direct outreach, picking up the phone and calling some of our most valued fundraisers. The average amount raised, average number of donors per page, and average donation amount. So a lot of our strategies into supporting those KPIs would be the donor and fundraiser experience. Like Ashi mentioned, it would be the coaching emails. It would make sure the platform is easy for them to use, making sure that it's fully accessible. That's particularly important to us as a hospital for kids and youth with disabilities. So that way we're making sure that everybody is able to fundraise or donate on the platform. As well as we even drill down to metrics related to our social media posts, our email marketing metrics through engaging networks like our open rates, click rates. As well as for Capes for Kids, we break out each of our fundraisers into large buckets or segments, as we call them. And then each of those segments has their own KPIs, their own metrics that are tied to a single staff person at Holland Bloorview who's accountable for that. So one example would be we have a school segment. So we have a whole strategy devoted to school fundraising as part of Capes for Kids. And then that segment has its own KPIs, its own metrics, which are led into by different strategies. We also have a segment related to our hospital colleagues, so our nurses, staff, occupational therapists. So we really break it down segment by segment. And all of those segments then kind of feed up together into our overall goals. Of our recruitment and revenue goals, and having these early and really set and kind of drill down into each of our strategies helps us along the way when we first kick off the event know how we're doing. We compare it year over year, we compare it to goal, so we do have the flexibility and we know when, if we need to pivot or if we say certain KPIs are performing better than others, we may take those learnings and bring it into a different strategy, or we lean into what's working in that particular year and maybe devote time to the things that aren't doing as well in a particular year, maybe for next year. So again, planning early and often these metrics and goals is key for us, at least, in making sure that we are ultimately going to have a successful event and ultimately give the best experience possible for our fundraisers and all of their generous donors supporting their fundraising in Holland Bloorview.